No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
And here we go. This is Mike Lodge. I am the business advisor, and this is my podcast. Thanks for joining me this bright and cheery day here in South Carolina. It is blue skies, no clouds thus far. Now, that could change in a moment because in South Carolina, all of a sudden these clouds roll in and comes a big old bucket full of water hitting everything in its way. I mean, I don't mind it only because I'm able to get everything watered without me having to do it. So, I like the rain. It's just that when it comes down in buckets, and it is literally, it has come down so hard sometimes that it's bent over my plants because it's just too heavy. So, this morning, I'm going to talk about several different things. One of the first ones is, I don't know if you've ever been on vacation or you've been to a shopping mall and you've seen these stores called the Christmas Tree Shop. They sell all different kinds of ornaments. For those of you who love Christmas, I know you know what I'm talking about and who I'm talking about. They were sold a few years ago to Bed Bath & Beyond. And as you know, Bed Bath & Beyond are in bankruptcy and going out of business. Then they were sold, the Christmas Tree Shop was then sold to a private organization, and they just have not been able to do it. They've got so much debt and not enough money rolling in to pay off that debt. So it's up for sale again, but it's also in bankruptcy. Well, they just announced that the 73 stores that are currently open, they're closing them down. And that covers 20 states. It's sad to see stores like this go away because it's kind of like, you felt like you were in a mom and pop store. It was a family store. It made you feel good when you went in because you saw all the Christmas decorations up. And they were open all 12 months. They did not shut down. You could buy Christmas ornaments all year long. So when people went on vacation, they would buy special ornaments and put them on their tree for that Christmas. But it is sad to see these retail companies going out of business. But as you realize in your own personal financial experience, that your money is being spent on the necessities, not on the small luxuries of the Christmas tree stores. Or shops, I should say. You and I are spending our money on food, on our utility bills, on our rent and home, on our cars to get us to places, and taking care of kids if we have kids. Those are our priorities. Anything above that isn't being considered anymore because we just cannot afford it. And when people say, and I keep seeing this in the financial news and everything, that the economy is doing well and we're going to have a soft landing. Well, their soft landing, to be perfectly honest, is this inflation is going to go on for quite some time. That's a soft landing to them. Now, are we in a recession? I say we're in a recession because we're having too many layoffs. We're having too many companies go out of business. We're having small businesses go out of business. They just cannot survive. So to me, as a personal individual out here in this world, this great big old world of the United States, we're in a recession. And it's going to take a while. Soft landing means it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while to get out of these financial situations that the that the government has got us into. And it's frustrating, I know, but we just have to keep doing this money management system of ours that we have to do, that it's going to last a while. That's the only thing that we can do. The other day, I was talking to you about the commercial real estate market and how badly they're doing and how many defaults they're going into. they just can't bring their employees back into these office buildings fast enough. They just don't want to go. And so some of these buildings have gone into default and they're in bad situations. The companies who are able to mosey on and keep their buildings alive and not go into default, they're changing their apparatus totally different, because they now know that they have got to offer a little bit different things for their employees. The employees that's going into those offices. Free coffee is a big thing now. A lot of buildings are offering free coffee, especially in New York. But the top New York City commercial real estate CEO says that the buildings hurting from remote work are the same ones that he warned about 6 years ago. So here we have had these warnings for quite some time, especially when we went into the pandemic, that people were not coming into these buildings anymore. And now people don't want to go back to the office. And so everybody is hurting. The office building is hurting because employers, have thousands of square footage that just remains empty. No one is in there. So what does that do to the stores that are in these buildings, the restaurants in the buildings, the shopping areas around the building? Everyone's hurting. In fact, a lot of them have gone out of business. If you look at downtown San Francisco, so many of those little mom and pop stores are now gone because no one is coming into the city to work. Who would want to go into San Francisco with all of the crime and the drugs and the poop on the street and needles on the street and crime running rampant all over the place? So San Francisco set up their own demise because they refuse to enforce the law and to protect the people who make up their city. And the citizens of San Francisco are crying for help because the city and the city managers and the supervisors and everybody else that's in government just are not paying attention to people anymore. So we're going to see a lot more defaults, not just in San Francisco, but in Los Angeles. We've seen them in Seattle. We've seen them in all of the major cities where people are no longer going into work, no longer doing the work inside the city where the economy used to thrive. And now we're in a situation where small businesses are now out of business. I like working in an office. I like the people around me, and I like to be able to hear the stories of what's happening in their business. I like to hear what they're working on. I like to ask questions, and I like the ability to gain more knowledge from other people. I'm in a one-man office, and I get bored because I need someone to talk to. And I think it has done probably more damage to him. Probably if I didn't have this podcast and I was talking to you, I might be loony by now. Because working alone and doing my job alone and being alone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week is just not healthy. And I think that we are going to see a lot more mental or mental health issues because of this. It's not healthy to be alone. It's not healthy not to be energized by other people, or you to be able to energize other people. Yeah, we do everything by Zoom. I talk to people all day long on Zoom, but it is not the same. It just is not the same. And so I believe that in order for these buildings to be a success again, they've got to come up with a new way, a new angle to bring these people back in. And a lot of them have. I mean, a lot of these buildings now have outside lounges. They've got areas where people can mingle. They've redesigned their buildings from the lobby all the way up to the rooftop of the buildings. I mean, they have done so much to make it feel as though that these employees of other companies are going to have a working condition that makes them feel relaxed. It makes them feel that they can get their mind off the daily grind for a few minutes, refresh themselves, and then go back to work. So buildings are being redesigned and being re-outfitted to help employees to come back into the workforce. I hope it works. Knock on wood, I hope it works. I was reading an article this morning, and they said that the America's I can't talk this morning, I'm sorry. America's economy rapidly shifting south. So companies out of California on the West Coast and companies out of the East Coast are shifting south. And the states are, especially Texas. Texas is a big thing. But also places like Florida, the Carolinas. We've seen a lot of businesses come in from Carolina. When I was in Florida during the pandemic, I remember that a lot of the Wall Street investment houses were moving down into Palm Beach. And there were 14 of them within a year that had moved out of Manhattan, down out of the Wall Street area and down into Florida, South Florida. Because why? They had better operating conditions. They didn't have as much pandemic issues going on. They were not enforcing all these mandates all the time. Lower cost of living. And so people moved. They moved out of New York. I remember at one point in time we had 900 people a day moving from the north down into the south. So even here in South Carolina, we've had a lot of companies move in here. A lot of people move in here from California and New York. Texas has had a lot of technology companies move down into Texas. Tesla and HP and all these other companies have moved into Texas. Why? Because they're wanted there. The states like California have literally chased their people out. On Monday, on July 1st, California raised their gas prices, or their gas taxes, I should say, another 8%. They had a 6% raise last year in 2022, and then in 2023, July, it went up 8 more percent. So when you have that going on and you're trying to get to work and the price of gasoline is going up because of taxes, why be there? Because there are other cities and other states that have much lower costs of living. So it's a good decision. But you're seeing from the north, it's moving slowly down to south. I have a link in today's podcast. You can go and you can look at the map and see what's going on. By the way, all of you, are you going to go and do that Meta? They're launching a new site. It's called Threads, and it's supposed to challenge Facebook and Twitter. Really, they want to challenge Twitter. I don't know if I'll join that. My gosh, I'm on so many different media sources out there at the moment. I don't know if I can handle one more. My gosh, every time I post a podcast, I'm going to like 20 different places to post it on a daily basis. Listen, if you have any business questions, send it to me at thebusinessadvisor@gmail.com. Again, that's thebusinessadvisor@gmail.com. If you want to sit down with me confidentially and get some business coaching or advisory, go to my website. You can schedule me online at www.lodge.co.com, and you can do it on the first page of that site. Everybody go and have a great day. Talk with you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for your grace, your amazing grace. Thank you for the way that you forgive me every